If you ever thought you live in the worst possible time for humans, you have no idea how good you have it. The Middle Ages were probably the worst time ever to be alive. If you didn't catch an infection from a war wound, you'd end up feasting on your neighbor when the famine hit. That's only the tip of the iceberg, as there are more weird things you're yet to find out about the Middle Ages. Sit tight. Number 13. Unusual detergent. When you think of detergents, you think about all the different brands out today that you could use to make your clothes clean. However, there was a time when the only detergent man knew was urine. Yes, you heard that right. Pee was used in the Middle Ages to get the stains off their clothes. Somehow, science also supports the theory by suggesting that the high levels of ammonia do indeed help with stain removal. Only if you don't mind smelling like a walking urinal, then you have no problem there. Number 12. Rat eyebrows. I don't know any other body part that has seen so much revolution than the human eyebrows. Just picture people moving from totally plucking their eyebrows, then drawing over the area with black stained color. The more recent eyebrow techniques are eyebrow lamination, brow lightening, and brow tattoos. All in an attempt to up our looks to match the current beauty trend. The methods are a little crazy and weird, but do they top what the Middle Ages women did to their eyebrows? Supposedly, they trapped and caught mice so they could get their hands on some rat skin. Rats had ludicrous fur, which they stripped some of and used fish glue to stick on their faces. It gave a dramatic look. That's if you don't have a nose to smell the rotting flesh and fish. Yuck! The cats also had a fun time chasing after what they thought was a rat, only to find pieces of disgusting flesh instead. Number 11. Animal court. When it comes to the law and court session, the one causing the biggest stir today has to be the Amber and Johnny Depp scandal session. As if things couldn't get any more dramatic, history proves that they were the inventors of the word itself. What better way to do that than by not only putting people through a trial, but animals as well? In the case these animals were found guilty, they were sentenced to prison, hanged, or even banished from the lands altogether. No animal was spared from the eyes of the law, as everyone who found fault was free to report to the authorities and await a fair trial. Number 10. Football. For as long as I've lived, I've always known that modern football originated in England. What about the uncivilized version of the game? As far as history can tell, it started in the Middle Ages, where neighboring towns would inflate a pig's bladder to compete against each other for the most goals. Also, they could use whichever means possible to take the ball away from their opponents and score a goal at the end of the match. People had nosebleeds, broken bones and ribs, and some even lost some teeth, all in the name of football. Number 9. Child Crusade Army. The Child Crusade Army is like none we've ever seen before and existed back in the day when Jerusalem was in captivity. I know you might be wondering where were the adult fighters at the time, but you'll be shocked that it was the adults who chose them to fight alongside them in battle. It's unfortunate how things ended, with a number of the soldiers ending up in captivity, if not worse. I'm still trying to wrap my head around the thought of child soldiers. Who came up with such an idea? Number 8. Pointed toe shoe fashion. Fashion has been in action since the early ages when mankind realized animal skin can be used as an outfit and has evolved in numerous ways. We'll focus on devil's fashion, which was trending in the Middle Ages. They didn't wear outfits similar to ours, and you'll be shocked at some of the other stuff they adopted as outfits. They might be looking weird compared to the current fashion trends, but believe me, they're some of the most exotic fashion designs ever created. Around the 20th century, outfits were worn depending on status, and certain textures and shoes were specifically for the royals. A perfect example is the ink shoes that were weirdly pointed but designed from the best leather you can get your hands on. I wonder how this era managed to move around in such pointed shoes. Did their feet even reach halfway through the shoes? Trust me, you don't want to know. They looked pretty devilish, resembling the genie in Aladdin's folktale. Number 7. Devil's Fashion. Speaking of the devil's fashion we mentioned earlier, it's an outstanding design that existed back in the day when people who wore striped clothes were said to own luxurious devil's fashion. The peculiar name might have come from the weird long design dragging on the ground, which closely resembled the Grim Reaper's outfit. Number 6. Toilet handyman for the king. Kings from the Middle Age era enjoyed supremacy the most. They had a handyman for their toilet business and assisted them with cleaning and disposing of their waste after relieving themselves. Would you dare have someone stand guard when you're in the toilet doing your business? Number 5. Ritual of consummating the marriage. After tying the knot, the medieval era adopted the culture of consummating the marriage, and the couple proceeded to a room where they made love to each other in public. As unreal as it sounds, it did happen, and here are some photos to prove it. Number 4. Bath day. Unlike today, taking a shower wasn't as easy as back in the day, because the whole household used the same water bath to clean themselves. Ugh. Believe it or not, once the water was poured into the bathing container after boiling, the same water would be utilized by everyone in the house. It sounds filthy, and it is, and the middle-aged people tried to do something about their hygiene, despite the water and detergents challenge. Number 3. Cat cruelty. Cats are adorable, but during the Middle Ages, you wouldn't believe how fast this house pest lost popularity. After the 14th century, cats were associated with pest control, but with evil spirits and witches, and were treated as a menace to society. Many innocent cats were affected by the cruelty of humans doing inhumane things to torture and exterminate cats. Do you think the theory believed about cats is true? Number 2. House hygiene. House hygiene has been fundamental for all eternity, and nobody would want to come back to a smelly house or sleep without taking a shower. It wasn't easy to keep the wooden utensils and distinct floor texture, but the housekeepers tried their best to work around with what they had. They went 4 miles to fetch water and used basins for cleaning. Number 1. Urine disinfectant. If you asked anyone to collect their urine, you'll be shocked at the response you'll get. Even I wouldn't have dared do that until I stumbled upon this realization that urine really is beneficial and isn't just waste products and excess water from the body. It might sound unreal, but during the Middle Ages, people actually used urine as a disinfectant to sterilize different injuries, be it a cut graze or even a bruise, you name it. Scientists proved this theory, however, recommending the urine be fresh since it won't be helpful when it stays too long due to the increasing bacteria ratio. Since there weren't any alcohol-based disinfectants, they adopted the use of urine as a disinfectant even for the soldiers active in the theater of war. Anytime you get an injury and don't have any medical supplies, you can improvise with some urine. Until next time, adios.